Why don't people succeed? Good question, right? You know what's so funny to me is that how many people in the world often say, well, because they're dumb or lazy. You know, they're like so discounting of humanity, and they're so like negative against people. Most people are not dumb, and they are not lazy, in fact. Matter of fact, they're incredibly smart, incredibly intelligent, and they're incredibly busy, you know, really. It's not that they're lazy, they're really busy. But here's the difference. They're smart, yes, but sometimes they're smart and intelligent at completely meaningless things. You know, we have all these people who know, dozens and dozens of batting averages, or the names of celebrity babies, or, the latest new little trinket or item, for sale, or, the latest headline in the news. And yet they know nothing that is relevant to their ability to really progress and contribute in their lives. They know lots of stuff. They are smart, they are intelligent, but smart and intelligent at what? They're misaiming their potential. They're so distracted by things that are meaningless and insignificant that they're not meaningfully and significantly getting ahead. And it's not that they're lazy. I mean, they're busy. But what are they busy doing? They're busy multitasking on a bunch of things that might also be meaningless, but they're so busy doing what exactly? Sometimes our busy work is not our life's work. We're doing all these activities, but activity disjointed from strategy and purpose is just distraction. And there's nothing that costs us more in our lives over the long term than distractions. If you really think about it, because think about this. We've run these numbers at High Performance Academy before. It's unbelievable, right? Most Americans, did you know this? Most Americans are watching 4 hours of television per day, of TV per day. That doesn't mean that television is on 4 hours a day. It means they are watching it 4 hours a day. You take those 4 hours over the average adult lifespan from the time they start watching, over the average adult lifespan, that equates to 13 years, 24/7, in front of the boob tube. Yeah, over a decade of people's lives, 24/7, is being spent in front of the box. And you think about that for just a second, and you think about, oh my gosh, that's 13 years of lost life. Because every major study ever done on television and the consumer's experience with television doesn't report happiness, doesn't report real engagement or joy. It reports a low level of stress. You don't think those advertisements aren't stressing you out? You don't think that conflict that you want isn't impacting your soul in some way or another? It's like, I'm not an anti-TV guy. I love it. You're watching this. Thank you, right? There are some things we could watch that add value. I have no question about that. But most folks are just watching 4 hours, and they're watching 4 hours because they can't think of anything else to do, or they have wasted their day working so hard towards things that really don't matter to them that they feel so emotionally wasted they got to check out and watch some TV. But check this out. If somebody watches 4 hours of television a day, over the adult lifespan, that's 13 years across the average adult lifespan, 13 years, 24/7. If you took that and input it into the regular economy at a regular salary, that person now has lost, because remember, they're awake, they're watching, they have lost salary potential of nearly $1 million. Do you know, at an average investment rate, over those same amount of years, that same amount of money could equate to somewhere around $2 million. So they've lost 13 years of their life, 13 years away from their real ability to connect and love other people, to really creatively express themselves and to contribute to society. They've lost $1 million in salary potential and $2 million all in investment potential. And for what? For what? So the cost of distraction is immense. And most people aren't distracted because they're dumb or they're lazy. It's because they are frankly focused on the wrong things, on things that are not moving the needle for them. Now, some people say, well, Brendon, you don't understand. I don't watch TV for 4 hours a day. I know, but I bet you're distracted for 4 hours a day. Maybe television isn't your drug. Maybe it's the internet. Maybe it's Facebook. Maybe it's, silly little things that just don't, add anything. And I'm not Mr. Productive, in which every hour has to be scheduled towards the most amazing activity. I'm not one of those, type A super achievement guys just for the sake of achievement or power. I'm about living a fully engaged life. a life that has meaning and depth to it, a life that, has a sense that each of our experiences actually really do matter, and there's zest and joy and sugar to that, And it's hard to have if you're suffering from, browser blackout for 4 or 5 hours a day. And that's what happens to people. Browser blackout. They just wake up for 4 hours, they click a little blue link, and then 4 hours later they wake up and they're like, whoa, what happened to me? They don't understand. They're like, am I still dressed? They have no idea what happened to them. It was like someone slipped them a drink. They're like, what just happened to me? Or nowadays, it's like app amnesia. Nowadays it's like they look at an app on their mobile device and then they play with a bunch of apps, and then 4 hours go by, or throughout the day in the little moments when they have some spare time, instead of sitting and thinking, what is it I really want to be about right now? What is it I should be focused on right now to move my life forward or to deepen this relationship? What do? They check out. And people tell this lie now. They're like, oh, you don't understand. Hold on, Brendon, I have to check in. We all feel like we have to check into our inbox constantly, check into our Twitter stream, check into the Facebook stream, check into the Tumblr stream, check into some stream. We're all checking into some stream over here that we've checked out of the stream of now, of being present and alive in this moment, of sensing our lives again. If you are constantly checking into other people's agendas, you're checking out of your life's purpose. So let's find a way today to just make a decision for yourself to say, you know what? I'm not gonna be so distracted anymore. I'm gonna be more purposeful about my days and my activities, not just so I can be successful or achieve, but so I can feel again. So I can feel that sense of aliveness and progress and fulfillment in life. And we can only have that if we give our real presence to it, if we really focus on it, if we really allow the depth and the magic of this hour, of this moment to enliven us. We deserve that. That's living the charged life. That's being a person of meaning and significance. That's being somebody who knows that this life, that these moments, that this very hour is precious. It is a gift. Honor it, use it, enjoy it.